Hey guys, what's up? My name is Anthony, and welcome to another edition of BNA Sports Talk. So I usually do this sort of clip in a separate BNA Sports podcast thing. I've done it for the past 2 years, but why not make it into a lone video? Because BNA Sports Podcast, I like doing it, but it's not what's going to drive in the views, and it's not what's going to basically, it feels like a little pointless at this point. And eventually I'm trying to kickstart that back up, but for now, the next 5 Super Bowl champions. I have 3 rules with this. 1, the Giants have to be included because I'm a Giants fan, and I kind of want to have fun that way. Next is to have fun. And then third, I really try to pick the best coaches. It's not really a rule, but it's kind of like a thing. I don't know. But yeah, let's get into it. Who do I think is going to win the Super Bowl this year? And here, let me give some qualifications about why you should watch the rest of this video. If we take a look at last year, Super Bowl 55, was it 55 or 56? It was 55. Was it 55? Yeah, because it was LV. Yeah, okay. If we look at that, I predicted last year the Tampa Bay Buccaneers versus the Kansas City Chiefs. And if I'm looking back correctly, if I remember correctly, didn't they play each other? And didn't Tampa Bay win? And didn't they have 31 points? Oh, yeah. So these are definitely all true. I definitely did not make any mistakes in the past. I definitely did not 2 years ago pick this past Super Bowl to be the Falcons versus the Colts. Are you kidding me? I would never predict that. And I definitely predict this year to be the Lions versus the Ravens last year. No, that did not happen. But let's get into it. Super Bowl 56. Who's it going to be? Because I'm basically picking who's going to be in the Super Bowl this year. Hope you guys know. And there are recent trends that are kind of weird. So 40-1 seems like the magic number for the NFC team to have before the season. Now I'm taking a look at all the teams. The Giants are 66-1. I think they should be higher. The Falcons, you have teams like that. You have teams like the Washington football team. And let's just stop there. Washington football team going and representing the NFC. Now we take a look at their roster. Their edge depth isn't great, but they have Chase Young and Montez Sweat, the defensive line. It feels like they have the coaching. They have everything for this team to really be successful. I just don't really trust their secondary. I don't think they're as good as people hype them up to be. Troy Apke is all right. And I forgot the guy's name, but he had like a cheap interception. He had some fluke interceptions. And just like, oh, yeah. He had a fluke interception against us. But, I mean, they've drafted well. I'm taking a look at every single one of the draft. Like Yami Brown. I'm like, they're their wide receiver core. They don't have that elite guy. But Terry McLaurin, I think, can fill in as a decent wide receiver one. And you don't even need a wide receiver one to do it. So I'm picking Washington just as a jinx to them. And, so that means they would probably have to win the division and they would repeat champs. So I'm jinxing the Washington football team. And then for the AFC, I'm predicting the Chiefs once again. Because, you know what? Although they struggled with the offensive line at the end of last season, that's because they had a bunch of injuries. And I'm looking at the Bills and the Browns like really keenly. Like I'm looking at them with a nice eye. I'm like, I think that the Bills are going to regress a little bit because there's like the natural, just how much is Josh Allen going to improve. But I'm also taking a look at their defense. They added a lot of talent there. And now they had a lot of talent last year's draft. And I really think their defense could really step it up this year. And then their offensive line, you just signed your left tackle, the future Deion Dawkins. You know what? I'm doing it. The Bills versus Washington, a rematch of Super Bowl whatever, I think, back in the day. I'm doing it. The Chiefs, just too many injury questions. Patrick Mahomes' contract didn't kick in just yet. I don't like their defensive line. I don't like their defense this year. I don't. They kind of like middling picks that they've had over the past couple of years. That I don't see that high upside in their defense. Now, I think their coaching is good, but you see Steve Spagnuolo, eventually his defenses don't work out. So yeah, let's do it. Washington versus Bills. That's gonna be Super Bowl 56. Nice. All right, that's weird. Sometimes you can't like visualize it, but yeah, I can visualize that. Next, Super Bowl 57. That I predicted last year for it to be the Giants versus the Bills. Do I think the Bills are gonna make the Super Bowl twice in a row? No. So I'm picking the Giants though. Daniel Jones in his 4th year. A bunch of guys in your contract extensions. You're gonna have Dexter Lawrence in his 4th year as well. So it's gonna be a bunch of players playing for their contracts, and a bunch of players developing. Kadarius Toney, I think Sterling Shepard's gonna be gone, but Kenny Galladay. I just have a good feeling about the team now. This is not the best team award. This is a team I think is going to make it to the Super Bowl. So you may have some of that Daniel Jones magic that Eli Manning's going to rub off of him. Now he has an office spot. So I'm picking that. And then for the AFC, you got to start following some good coaches. Lamar Jackson. should I pick the Browns? Am I really going to pick the Browns to make the Super Bowl next year? Giants versus the Browns? That'll be the weirdest Super Bowl ever, but I'm doing it. Giants versus the Browns. It's going to be the third year in the Kevin Stefanski system. They may take a step back this year, but their edge rushers with Myles Garrett, he's still going to be in his prime. You're going to have that cornerback depth just grow all the players that you drafted, plus bringing in some players, one from Washington and, one from the Rams or two from the Rams. Did they bring two? No, I think it was only one from the Rams. I forgot which guy they brought in. But Jalen Johnson, was that? No, that's the guy on the Bears. Okay, let's just stop speaking. But, they have a really good offensive line. I think it's continuing to be good. It's pretty young, but you can always, and it's pretty old as far as the interior, but you can always, draft to make that a little bit better or sign somebody. But that's going to be the year where a bunch of those guys' contracts are coming up, and, yeah, backs against the wall. Teamwork, and the Brownies are going to make the Super Bowl, but the Giants are going to win. I'm also going to put the scores on the screen just for fun. It's just yeah, I picked the score. And now, can I not have the Chiefs in the Super Bowl for a while? I think they are going to figure it out. I don't think Andy Reid's going to retire for the next couple of years at least. He could just surprise retire, and this is completely wrong. But he's still going to be the coach. He's a good coach. I have the Chiefs making the Super Bowl in Super Bowl 58. Now, what you see with the Super Bowl, you see a pattern. You see, the Chiefs a couple years in a row. You see the Patriots a couple years in a row. So you get pretty dominant teams. But the thing is, you get also quick rebuilding teams as well. And why do I say this? I think that the Saints are going to struggle this year with Taysom Hill, whoever they have. But then they're going to figure out their cap problem. Sean Payton, Saints versus Chiefs, Super Bowl 58. I think he's a good coach. He's in his upper 50s right now. But I think that he's so smart. He's not going to lose a bunch of wisdom randomly. So you're going to find your quarterback. You're going to maybe struggle 1 year, get a high-ranking quarterback, develop him a little bit, or bring in a guy like Aaron Rodgers or something like that when you figure out your cap problems and, survive. But they've drafted well. The 2017 draft was good. And, was their draft last year amazing? Zach Bond, you got Cesar Ruiz, and you got that tight end out of, I think, FAU or... No, was that Dayton? But, yeah, I think that, the Saints are the up-and-coming team, and I think they can do it. And so I'm going to pick them. So notice no Tom Brady and no Patriots. I may shoot myself in the foot here. You got to pick New England. So the next year, 59th Super Bowl. We're almost at 60. That's crazy. But, yeah, so 59, the Super Bowl 59. I'm looking at the NFC, and I'm thinking, okay, so you got the 49ers developing Trey Lance. You're going to have these, Trevor Lawrence of the world. Don't forget, these guys are growing. Joe Burrows, they're growing. I just don't trust a lot of their coaches. That's why I'm not going to pick them. They're going to have good seasons. They may have good seasons getting to the second round, but I just don't see their ceiling being that high. So I'm going to pick for Super Bowl 59. I'm going to pick the 49ers in Super Bowl 59. And that's because Trey Lance will be in his fourth year. He'll be developed. You're probably still going to have Trent Williams, but he's going to be on his last legs. He may end up being like what do you call it? Not Tristan Wirfs, Andrew Whitworth, and just play forever. It's like, how is this guy still in the league? But you're gonna have some great weapons that Kyle Shanahan's gonna keep filtering in. He's gonna constantly be adjusting his system, his scheme, and that defense. I think it needs to go through like a rebirth almost. But you're gonna have Javon Kinlaw, Joey Bosa, or Nick Bosa. You're still gonna have a decent amount of those pieces there, I think. And you're going to be able to compete. The secondary needs to get better. Maybe focus one off season on that secondary. The 49ers making Super Bowl 59. And as far as the AFC goes, this is tough. Really tough. It's open air. All of a sudden, a team that's bad like the Jaguars can come up. You have the Tennessee Titans with Ryan Tannehill, but I don't think he's going to be long term. But I'm just going to have fun with it, and I'm going to say the Colts. Because this will be the last year of Carson Wentz's contract. Maybe he's got an extension. Maybe he's not even a quarterback there. I just kind of want to mention the topic. Is Carson Wentz still going to be there in a couple of years? So it's going to be Wentz versus Lance in Super Bowl 59. And the thing about the Colts is they just draft well. They do everything right, and they're constantly learning and adapting. The Kellen Moore guy, or I forget, one of their cornerbacks really showed out last year. They're showing more attention to cornerbacks. Darius Leonard, the modern safety. Oh, not modern safety, the modern linebacker. It always feels like they're getting a bunch of talent in, and it feels like they figured this roster out. So I'm picking them. Good coach Frank Reich has already made a Super Bowl, and Carson Wentz finally figures this shit out. But the thing is, if it's like boom or bust. So is he gonna slowly get in? I don't know how exactly that thing is gonna work out, but it's gonna be very fun to watch. And then finally, I have the Rams versus the Chiefs in the final one. They can't not make a Super Bowl. Come on. they're going to make a couple of Super Bowls here. So I have them. Did I have them in Super Bowl 58? I don't know, but they have to make a couple of Super Bowls. Rebirth of Andy Reid and the whole team. I think Patrick Mahomes is just a good quarterback, and I have to pick him at least twice on this list. Twice in the next 5 years. It just sounds right. And then the Rams, I don't trust them in the near-term future. Well, I trust them this year, but I think they're going to have a dry spell for a couple years. Aaron Donald looks like he not on his last legs. He's so dominant, but when is he going to stop getting injured? Like, I don't know. I think that they're just going to see a constant repeating, kind of like LeBron James at the end of his career. You're going to see a constant recycling of injuries. He's going to have a good spurts. He's going to have good games, but he's never going to be fully healthy ever again. And Jalen Ramsey, you don't have any first-round picks for the next couple of years, but I trust kind of their evaluations on players. All of a sudden, Havenstein, their offensive line coaching seems like it's good. Joe Noteboom, it seems like they have a pretty decent offensive line. As bad as you think that it is, it's always better than you think. So that's going to be able to protect whoever's quarterback. And it might not be Matthew Stafford, or it might be Matthew Stafford's last ride. And that'd be cool. Super Bowl 60, Matthew Stafford versus Patrick Mahomes. But I hope you guys did enjoy this video. That would be actually a pretty good game, like gunslingers. But Matt Stafford would be old because he got drafted in 2011. That would be in 2025. So that'll be... We got drafted in 2009. That'll be 16 years. But hopefully you guys did enjoy this video. Let me know what you guys think. Are any of my opinions off base? And let me know your predictions of the Super Bowl this year, next year, the year after that, or even the year after that. And I'll see you guys in my next one. Bye, guys.